We're live. Is it moving? All right, there we go. Okay, so today it is 2/8, right? 2/8/18, 2/8/18. There is no common core standard. It's really basically it's the review for our quadratics test, and I'll call it a test. I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're all worth 25 points, right? So don't freak out thinking, oh my gosh, it's a test, right? So let's do it. Example 1, factor. Number 1 is common factor. Do you see it? They have a common multiple of 4. They both have an x in common. So I pull out the 4x. I'll have an x minus 5. Thumbs up. 1 thumb up, 2. 3, thumbs up. Okay. Number 2. Okay, it's a trinomial. Parentheses, 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 right? X and x. Multiples of 12 that make a negative 7. Multiples of 12 that make a negative 7. How about a negative 3, negative 4, or vice versa, right? And the double smiley, if you want to check, there's the 7, right? 3, parentheses, 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 parentheses. When I have a leading coefficient, I really have to check my double smiley. When there's a number in front of x squared, I need to check my double smiley, okay? So 5x, x for sure. 2 and 1, and I got to be careful where I put the 2 and the 1. I'm going to put the 2 here and the 1 here. If I check my double smiley, 2 and 5, right? I get a 2 and a 5. I need a negative here and a positive here, so I get the negative 5x. See the negative 5x, positive 2x, right? Number 4. Okay, number 4. I'm going to bring everything over so I can go ahead and factor it. So I've got a 5x squared. I'll have to subtract 3x to bring it over. I'll have to subtract 2 to bring it over and set it equal to 0. Oh my goodness, is it the same one we just did up above? Oh, that's sweet. So factoring's easy. We just factored that one, didn't we? I like that. So, okay, I did that on purpose, you think. 5x plus 2x minus 1. But now we're solving, right? We're solving, so now we need an answer. X equals, so we make our mini equations, right? We're going to make our mini equations. So I'll take my 5x plus 2 equals 0 and my x minus 1 equals 0, right? Minus 2 and then divide by 5. X is a negative 2/5, right? I subtracted 2 and divided by 5. Minus 2 and then divided by 5. Here I just add 1 and I get x equals 1. Those are my 2 zeros. Okay, example 5. Alright. Square root. 2 answers. Square root of 25 is 5 plus or minus 5, right? So I have an x minus 4 equals that. Now we want mini equations, right? Mini equations. So I'm going to take my x minus 4 and set equal to 5, and I'll take my x minus 4 and equal it to negative 5, okay? My mini equations, right? Plus 4, the first one is 9. Plus 4, the other answer is negative 1. How am I doing? Because we've been doing this a lot, haven't we? For about 3 weeks. We should be getting good at this, okay? 6. Let's bring over the 4, right? Let's bring over the 4. If I get going too fast, tell me, please, okay? X minus 1 squared equals negative 4, right? Square root. X minus 1 equals plus or minus 2i. Okay, you all right where the y came from? The I comes from the square root of negative, right? So I get my I. Square root of 4 is 2, okay? Plus 1. You cannot add imaginaries and reals. So our answer is equal to plus or minus 2I plus 1. Thumbs up? Okay. If I get going too fast, will you please tell me to slow down? Okay. All right. Example 7. We're going to graph. This one we're going to do on a number line. Okay. This one's definitely going to be a number line, right? We're going to shade on the number line. We're going to have to shade. Right? So the first thing we're going to need is border points. Okay, we're going to need our border points to find our border points. And you're right, 80 just puts hands up. We shade in between, right? Because it's less than. Totally right. You're totally right. Yep. Hard to read your mind sometimes, huh? It's awesome. So let's find our border points first. Okay, so my border x squared minus 1x minus 30 equals 0. Set it equal to 0 to find our border points, right? Parentheses, 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 x minus 6, x plus 5 equals 0, right? If I solve, I get x equals 6 and x equals negative 5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my number line in there. Negative 5 and 6. Open dot. You okay with open circles? Open circles, right? Open circles because there's no equal sign, so it has to be open. Open. And AB is right. We shade in between because it's less than. You guys remember that? It's less than, you shade in between. If it's greater than, they go right. It's less than, you shade in between. If it's greater than, you go out, right? So we just shade in. Now, if we have to write this in set notation, I would write negative 5 less than x less than 6, because what I taught you before is this sign up here will be the same direction as those. Remember how we said that? It's less than here, and it does read correctly. If you read it right, it really does say x is greater than negative 5, which is what we have. If you read it correctly, it says x is less than 6, which is what we have. Okay? Thumbs up. Now, number 8, we're going to have to graph on the x, y. Number 8, we're going to have to graph on the xy plane, and we're also going to shade it, okay? So I'm going to grab some graph paper. Here we go. I'm going to do this one on graph paper. So first of all, let me just change it to y equals x squared minus 4x minus 12, right? And that. So what do I know? First of all, I know the y-intercept is at negative 12. So I might go by 2's. Negative 2, negative 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, y-intercept at negative 12. Everybody agree with that? There's my y-intercept at negative 12. My vertex, let's find my vertex with negative b over 2a first, or my line of symmetry, really, which is a negative 4 over a 2 times a 1, 4 over 2, which is 2. So I got a line of symmetry at 2. Okay, line of symmetry at 2. To find its vertex, we have to find the corresponding y value. Again, if I'm going too fast, will you slow me down? Do you need a pause for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Give you a pause. Okay. So as you're pausing, there's my y-intercept of negative 12. My line of symmetry, negative b over 2a, is 2, so I drew in my 2. I know Jacob said it really well. You did. I really like the way you said it. We know that the vertex is on the line of symmetry. It has to have an x value of 2, so we plug the 2 in. So I'm going to go, all right, 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 12. 4 minus 8 is negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16, I think. I think I got negative 16. So I'm right about there at negative 16. And I'll have another point here, right? The last thing I'd like are the x-intercepts. To get the x-intercepts, I set it equal to 0. x-intercepts, we go 0 equals x squared minus 4x minus 12, right? So to find the x-intercepts, we set the y equal to 0. We're going to factor and solve many equations. How about an x minus 6 and an x plus 2? No. X negative 12. And of course, many equations we get x equals 6 and x equals negative 2. Am I okay? So I'm going to graph those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. And I'm just going to graph it. Now, when I graph this darn parabola, it was y was greater than, right? It was y is greater than. There was no equal sign, right? So when I graph my parabola, I'm going to draw in a dashed line, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my parabola is dashed because it does not include my parabola. If it's greater than, I'm going to shade everything above the parabola, which is inside of it, right? Above is going to be inside of it. So I shade everything inside. How am I doing? Like that. Alright. Take this away, and Avi's going to put his phone away. Thanks, Avi. Okay, now let's take a look at number 9. Number 9, I'm going to have to use a separate sheet of paper because the quadratic formula takes some work. So number 9, I've got a 2x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. Okay, so you're going to get credit for showing your work on the quadratic formula also. Negative b, so it's negative 4 plus or minus big square root, right? Big square root. B squared, negative 4 squared, minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. Okay, I'm just plugging the numbers in. Plug and chug, right? Just put the numbers where they belong, and of course the quadratic formula is right there for you. You guys can see it, it's in your notes, correct? All right. Well, negative 4 is a positive 4, right? Plus or minus big square root of a 16 minus 56 over 4. I think we're going to have an I. I think we're going to have an I. We're going to have a 4 plus or minus square root of a negative 40 over 4. How am I doing? Okay. A little side work, a little side work, a little side. Here's I'm going up the side. I'm going to have the square root of 4, square root of 10, square root of negative 1. You okay with that? Right? 40 could be 4 and 10 and negative 1. So that's going to be 2 square roots of 10i, right? So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 plus or minus 2 square roots of 10i all over 4. Okay, now we're almost done. We really are. What we have learned is that you got to keep real numbers and imaginary numbers apart. So I'm going to rewrite this as one last thing. 4 over 4 plus 2 over 4 square roots of 10i. Okay, I just separate it into two fractions.
Plus or minus?
It sure should be. Thank you for being here, Katie. And then why not just reduce our fractions? You agree? Let's just reduce our fractions. 1 plus or minus 1/2 square roots of 10i. Bam! Can you do that tomorrow? Got your notes though, right? That'll help. Okay, and let's turn the page of our review. All right. Find an equation to model this parabola. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to use my stat button on my calculator, right? List 1, list 2. I'm going to let my x, list 1 is going to be my x values, right? List 2 is going to be my y values. Okay, so I'm going to put them in my calculator. Okay, here I go. Make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you can see it there, can't you? That's not too bad. Right about there. So go to Stat, right? Edit. Clear my old list. Clear my old list. Okay, X values. I'm going to put in a 1, enter, 2, enter, 4, enter, 6, enter, 7, enter, right? Let's put in my Y values. 7, 4, 2, 5, 10. How am I doing? So far, so good? We're going to go back to Stat and calculate, right? We're going to go back to Stat, calculate, because we need to calculate an answer, right? But I need a quadratic regression, because that's what we're doing is quadratics, right? Quadratic regression. Tell it list 1, comma, don't forget the comma, unless you have a fancy calculator. Right, slowly. List 2. Boom. Okay, so here's A. We'll put the 0.7, I'll round to 0.74. Put the 0.74 there for A. Put the negative 5.5 there for B. And we'll put the 11.9 in for C. And there's our equation. We're going to round a little bit because I don't want to put all of those ugly decimals in there. So my answer is going to be Y equals 0.74x squared minus a 5.5x plus an 11.9. Okay. Find the vertex, because it is a parabola, right? How do we find the vertex? Negative b over 2a. Negative b over 2a. So it's going to be a negative 5.5 over 2 times 0.74. Be very careful how you put it into the calculator. Let me put big, dark, ugly parentheses here. Because when you put it in your calculator, you got to make sure that both the 2 and the 0.74 are both in the denominator, right? If you don't use the parentheses in your calculator, you'll get the wrong answer. So, alright, so I'm just going to go, alright, 5.5, I just made it positive already, divided by parentheses, 2 times 0.74, and I get an answer of about 3.7. Okay, so that's the x value, 3.7. So my x value is x is equal to 3.7. How do we get its corresponding y value? We plug it in. Oh, I'm sorry. So we plug it in. We'll have a y equals a 0.74 times a 3.7 squared minus a 5.5 times a 3.7 plus 11.9, right? And I'll let the calculator do the work, right? Heck yeah. This slide's going to go. So clear, let's go. 0.74 times my 3.7 squared minus 5.5 times my 3.7 plus 11.9. Boom. About a 1.68 or round up to 1.7. So my vertex then is going to be 3.7 comma 1.7. How am I doing? And then, am I going too fast or am I okay? Bailey, how I'm doing? Okay. So then, lastly, find f of 3. How you can do that? That should be easy. F of 3, what do you do?
Put 3 in for x.
Just put 3 in for x, right? So f of 3 is going to be really the y equals 0.74 times 3 squared minus my 5.5 times 3 plus 11.9. I'm running out of room, but I'm going to put that in my calculator and get that answer down there. Hold on. Clear. 0.74 times 3 squared minus 5.5 times 3 plus 11.9. I get an answer about 2.06. Okay. I just plugged it in, right? 2.06. Plug and chug. Okay. We're almost done because the last three are easy. Last three are easy.
There's 4 more left.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We're going to get there, okay?
Wait, can you move it over?
I sure can, Amlin. Right there? Yeah. I got time. And we're only at 20 minutes. It's when I go over 30 that it usually does 2 different recordings. But we're good.
But you gave us a lot of homework.
Oh, you poor girl. Okay, you ready? 11. -2 plus 8i. Okay, how'd I do that? 2 minus a 4 and 3 minus a minus, double negative, right? Makes it a plus, makes 8i, okay? 12. I'm going to FOIL. 10 plus 4i minus 15i minus 6i squared. Bailey, are you ready? What's I squared? Awesome. -1, right? I squared is -1. So 10 minus 11i minus 6 times -1. Because Bailey said I squared is -1. 10 minus 11i plus 6. Natalie? 16, huh? Right? 16 minus 11i. And you cannot add real numbers with imaginary numbers, so you're done. Okay, okay, we're almost done, really. Okay, example 13. There's a problem. What's my problem? So let's fix the problem with the problem. So let's multiply by I over I, right? Let's see what we get. I'm going to get 3i minus a 2i squared over a 4i squared, okay? Which is going to give me a 3i minus 2 times -1, because we all know that I squared is -1, right? All over 4 times -1, right? 3i plus 2 over -4. And I'm going to write it as 2 separate fractions. I'm going to reverse it a little bit. Okay, don't get too freaked out if I go -1/2 minus 3/4 I. Where'd the 1/2 come from? You guys agree? 2/4? Right? Alright, here comes the easiest of all. Really, easiest problem of all. Honest. Okay, tell me when you got that. Thumbs up. And then we'll do the last one. Good? Okay, last one. Here we go. Let's graph this. Thank you, Katie. How's that? Let me see it better. Okay, here's my real axis, not x. Here's my imaginary axis, not y, okay? If I want to graph 3 minus 4i, it's right there. There is the point. 3 minus 4i, okay? If I want to find its magnitude, that's like its length from there to there. David said, make a right triangle and do right Pythagoras theorem. You guys agree? So we do a right triangle. I since have a 3, 4, and I'm going to go right over 3, down 4. So I can go 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 16 equals c squared. 25 equals c squared. C is 5. And the magnitude is 5. Okay, let me shorten this homework a little bit for you, okay? Let me check what I want to give you, okay? So page 396. 396. We don't have to do... okay, 396. I do want you to... Let's do... What the... Where's the sign? 7 to 20... We'll make these. Well, that's just okay. 721. Actually, I want you to do all of those. Okay, I don't need you. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do 7 to 11 odd. You guys write this down. 7 to 11 odd. It would be good to do 13. Also, it would be good to do 17. You know, gosh, I like all these. Okay, scrap that. Let's just do what I already. Yeah, because I already did these. Sorry, my bad. Let's just do the full 7 to 21 odd, 22, because I'm going to end up assigning those anyway, okay? Let's go back to the original. Okay.